If you have been stirring things into your shampoo bottle hoping to turn it into a hair growth treatment, I have some uncomfortable news and one genuinely useful piece of advice. The uncomfortable news is that most of what people add is washed down the drain before it does anything at all. And the reason is simple arithmetic that nobody mentions. Your shampoo sits on your scalp for somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds. That is the to soak in, penetrate, or accumulate over time is gone before it starts. But here is the part that makes this video worth your 20 minutes. There is one specific category of ingredient that works precisely because it acts on the surface in seconds and does not need to penetrate anything. And one drop of it, added to the shampoo you already own, addresses a cause of shedding that a huge number of people over 50 have and do not know they have. Stay with me, because that one drop is the fifth item, and it costs about the same as a cup of coffee for a bottle that lasts a year. Your doctor has probably never mentioned it. Not because they are hiding it, because appointments are too short. I'm Dr. Alan Brooks. I have spent 35 years as a board-certified dermatologist focused on hair and scalp, and more than 10,000 patients have sat across my desk. And I want to be honest about why I am making this particular video, because I have been fairly hard on hair growth shampoos in the past, and I stand by that. But over the years I noticed my patients were not going to stop customizing their shampoo. Just because I told them the contact time was too short. They were going to keep doing it. So I decided the more useful thing was to tell them exactly which additions survive that 60-second window, and which are simply an expensive way to scent your bathroom. This channel is where I say what I never have time to say in a 15-minute visit. Maybe you have done this yourself. A few drops of something into the bottle, a good shake, and a quiet hope that this time it does something. Or you have bought the shampoo with the impressive ingredient list on the front, used it faithfully for 3 months, and felt nothing change. And somewhere in there you started to wonder whether any of this works at all. I want you to hear this. Your instinct to treat your scalp is exactly right. The instinct was never the problem. The vehicle was. So let me explain the 60-second rule, because it decides everything that follows. When you apply shampoo, you are creating a very brief chemical event. The detergent lifts oil and debris. You rinse, and within a minute, the whole thing is over and washed away. Now, ingredients fall into two completely different categories, and the entire question is which one you are dealing with. The first category needs time and accumulation. These are the actives that must penetrate into the hair shaft or down into the follicle to do their job, building up over hours and repeating night after night. Rosemary, castor oil, peptides, anything working on circulation or on the hormone driving your hair loss. 60 seconds gives them essentially nothing. It is like taking a medicine and spitting it out 5 seconds later. The second category acts on contact, at the surface, and does not need to go anywhere. Antifungals that kill microbes on the skin. Acids that dissolve a mineral film. Compounds that trigger an immediate response in the blood vessels, just beneath the surface. These do meaningful work inside that window, because their job is finished by the time you rinse. Think of it like watering a garden versus spraying weeds on the path. Watering needs to soak in and takes time. Spraying the weeds works the moment it lands. Shampoo is not a watering can. It is a 60-second spray. So the only sensible question is, what can you actually accomplish in 60 seconds on the surface of your scalp? That is what this list answers. Number 5, and I'm starting with the one that disappoints people the most, is the collagen, biotin, and keratin powders that people stir into shampoo and that dominate the front labels of expensive bottles. Let me be direct. These do essentially nothing for growth applied this way. Collagen and keratin molecules are far too large to penetrate the hair shaft or reach the follicle. And biotin is a vitamin your body uses internally, not something your scalp absorbs meaningfully in a minute of contact. What these ingredients do achieve is a purely cosmetic surface effect. Hydrolyzed proteins can temporarily coat the strand and fill in rough spots, which makes hair feel smoother and look slightly fuller until the next wash. That is a real effect. It is just not a growth effect, and it is the sleight of hand the industry relies on. The common mistake is judging a shampoo by how your hair feels in the shower, because that feeling is exactly what these ingredients are engineered to produce. If you want collagen to help your hair, and it genuinely can, you need to take it internally, where the amino acids can be used to build. Stirring it into your shampoo is an expensive way to make it feel nice for a day. Number 4 is rosemary essential oil, and this one is different because rosemary genuinely works. It has the strongest evidence of any natural hair remedy we have, including a controlled trial where it matched a low dose of a standard pharmaceutical over 6 months. So the oil is not the problem. The vehicle is the problem. Rosemary works by improving microcirculation to the follicle, and that requires the oil to sit on the scalp and absorb over hours, not seconds. Diluting it into a bottle of detergent and rinsing it away 60 seconds later throws away almost everything that makes it valuable. And there is a second issue people never consider. When you add drops of essential oil to a shampoo bottle, the concentration in any given handful is completely unpredictable because oil and detergent separate between uses. You have no idea whether you are applying almost nothing or an irritating amount. The mistake here is not that people chose a bad ingredient. They chose an excellent ingredient and put it in the one place it cannot work. I will come back to where rosemary actually belongs in a moment, because that matters more than anything else in this video. Number 3 is peppermint oil, and here we finally start getting partial credit because the mechanism is fast enough to survive the wash. The active compound is menthol, and menthol is a vasodilator, which means it opens the small blood vessels near the surface of the skin. That is why you feel the cooling tingle almost instantly. It does not need to soak in for hours because the response begins on contact. A 2014 laboratory study comparing a 3% peppermint solution against minoxidil found deeper follicles and more of them in the active growth phase in the peppermint group. And while that was animal research rather than a human trial, the circulation mechanism is sound. So peppermint in shampoo earns real, if partial, credit. The mistake is dangerous rather than merely wasteful. People add far too much, chasing a stronger tingle, and menthol at high concentration burns. I have treated the contact dermatitis it causes, and an inflamed scalp is the opposite of what you want. If you use it, 2 drops per tablespoon of shampoo is the absolute ceiling. A cool tingle is correct. Burning is not, and it means you have gone too far. Now, before the top 2, do something for me. Type in the comments whether you have ever added anything to your shampoo bottle and what it was. And tell me your age. I have a feeling half of you are about to recognize your own bathroom cabinet in this list, and the other half are about to find out why the expensive bottle they bought did nothing. Number 2 is an acidic addition, and this one genuinely works within the wash, because acid acts instantly. A small splash of apple cider vinegar or a shampoo formulated at the right pH does something specific and valuable. Your scalp and hair are naturally slightly acidic, and that acidity is what keeps the outer layer of the strand, the cuticle, lying flat and smooth. Alkaline detergents, and more importantly, the calcium and magnesium in hard water, leave a fine mineral film on the hair that props those scales open, which is why hair can feel rough and look dull no matter what you use. Acid dissolves that film on contact. No penetration required, no waiting. That is why a vinegar rinse has survived as a remedy for 100 years. Now, the reason this sits at number 2 rather than number 1 is that adding vinegar directly into a shampoo bottle can destabilize the formula and reduce how well it cleans. So the correct method is not in the bottle. It is 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in a full cup of water, poured through as the final step after conditioning, then a brief cool rinse. Once a week. Always diluted and keep it well away from your eyes. And now, number 1, the one drop I promised you at the very start, tea tree oil. And here is why it takes the top spot, when rosemary, a stronger oil overall, sits at number 4. Tea tree oil is a proven antifungal, and antifungal action happens on contact, at the surface, killing microbes where they live. It needs no penetration and no accumulation, which means the 60-second window is genuinely enough for it to do its job. Now let me tell you why that job matters more than most people realize. Every human scalp hosts a yeast called Malassezia. It lives on all of us. But when it overgrows, and it commonly does with age, oilier scalps, and the drier indoor air most of us live in, it drives flaking, itching, and a low-grade inflammation around the follicle. And here is the part that connects it to your hair. That chronic inflammation pushes follicles out of their growth phase early, which means real measurable shedding. So an enormous number of people over 50 are losing hair partly to a treatable scalp condition they have mentally filed under dandruff and ignored for years. Let me tell you about Margaret, 63, a patient of mine, who came in about her thinning and mentioned her flaky, itchy scalp, almost as an afterthought, apologizing for wasting my time with it. It was not an afterthought, it was a significant part of her problem. We added tea tree to her routine and treated the scalp properly, and within about 8 weeks the itching and flaking had largely settled, and her shedding had noticeably slowed. She had been treating her hair for 2 years while ignoring the ground it grew in. The mistake with tea tree is using it neat, which irritates, or using far too much. The correct amount is genuinely 1 drop, or at most 2 per single wash, worked into the shampoo in your palm, rather than dumped into the bottle, so the dose is controlled every time. Massage it into the scalp with your fingertips, and here is the one adjustment that makes it work. Leave it on for 2 to 3 minutes before rinsing, rather than the usual 60 seconds. Even antifungals do better with a little more time. 2 or 3 washes a week is plenty. So here is exactly what to do with all of this. In the shower, add 1 drop of tea tree oil to the shampoo in your palm. Massage it into the scalp with your fingertips rather than your nails, and let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes before rinsing. Once a week, finish with a diluted apple cider vinegar rinse to clear the mineral film. That is the entire shampoo protocol, and it is deliberately small, because 60 seconds cannot carry more than that. But while we are in the shower, let me give you 3 adjustments to how you wash that cost nothing and matter more than any additive on this list. The first is water temperature. Hot water feels wonderful and strips the protective oil straight off your scalp. So use lukewarm and finish with a brief cool rinse, which helps the cuticle lie flat and is the cheapest shine treatment that exists. The second is where the shampoo goes. Put it on your scalp, not on the lengths. The scalp is where the oil and buildup actually are, and the lengths get cleaned perfectly well by the shampoo running down as you rinse. Piling all your hair on top of your head and scrubbing it into a tangle snaps fragile wet strands and creates knots that tear when you comb. The third is frequency. 2 or 3 washes a week is the sweet spot for most people over 50, because daily washing strips the barrier faster than it can rebuild, and your scalp responds by overproducing oil, which makes you feel you need to wash more. It is a loop that only the shampoo companies win. If you are washing daily out of habit rather than need, give your scalp 2 weeks to recalibrate. Which brings me to the part that actually matters, and to what I promised about rosemary. Everything that genuinely rebuilds hair, the circulation, The work on the hormone, the deep nourishment of the follicle, has to happen in a leave-on treatment, at night, over hours. Not in the shower. That is not an opinion, it is the arithmetic of contact time we started with. So if you have been trying to make your shampoo do that job, the honest answer is to stop asking it to, and move those actives to where they can work. You can absolutely blend that yourself. Rosemary, saw palmetto, and castor oil in a carrier oil, and I have a whole video on exactly how. Or, if you would rather not measure and mix every fortnight, there is a botanical ritual called radix that has already blended those three into a 2-minute leave-on routine with gentle weekly microstimulation. It is botanical, with no minoxidil and no finasteride, so none of the sexual side effects and none of the lifelong dependency people worry about. And it is backed by a 90-day money-back guarantee, which means you can try it and get your money back if it does nothing for you. It is designed for men, but the formula works for anyone. You will find it linked in the description, or point your phone at the code on screen. And one more thing about shampoo that is worth more than everything on this list combined. What you take out of your shampoo matters far more than what you put in. Turn your bottle around and read the first 5 ingredients. If you see sodium lauryl sulfate high on that list, that is the most aggressive common detergent on shelves. So aggressive that laboratories use it as a standard skin irritant to provoke reactions on purpose. It strips your scalp's protective barrier every single wash. And if you see ingredients ending in cone or xane, dimethicone and its relatives, those are silicones, which coat the strand and the follicle openings in a plastic-like film that builds up over weeks, weighs fine hair down, and blocks anything you apply afterward from getting in. Switching to a gentle, sulfate-free, silicone-free shampoo will do more for your scalp than any drop you could add to the wrong bottle. Adding tea tree to a harsh shampoo is like putting good fuel in an engine with a hole in it. One thing, doctor to viewer, before you try any of this. Essential oils are potent. Always patch test behind your ear and wait 24 hours. Keep everything well away from your eyes. And if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or have a diagnosed scalp condition under treatment, check with your own doctor first. And if your flaking is severe, greasy and yellow, or your scalp is painful or inflamed, that may be a condition that needs a proper prescription rather than an oil. So see a dermatologist in person. I'm a doctor, but I'm not your doctor. Now, one last honest word, because I want you to leave with the right expectation. If a flaky, inflamed scalp has been part of your shedding, the tea tree change can show you something within 4 to 8 weeks, and that is genuinely fast for hair. The itching settles first, then the flaking, then the shedding. But be clear about what you are buying with those 60 seconds. You are removing an obstacle, not building new hair. Removing the obstacle matters enormously, because a calm scalp is the ground everything else grows in. But the building happens at night in a leave-on, over months, and there is no way around that arithmetic. The people who get results are the ones who stop asking one product to do every job and start giving each job to the right vehicle. If you want the leave-on side already blended, it is sitting in the description. Because this was never only about a bottle of shampoo. It is about understanding why the things you tried did not work, so you stop repeating them. So add that one drop tonight, and come back and tell me in the comments whether your scalp settles. Type your age too. I read every single one. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.